when I showed up in Guatemala and we were talking, I had no idea that in about a month I would be going on a cruise. I had no idea. So it's all about flexi-planning.
Exactly. Meet Palle Bo, a full-time traveler and digital nomad from Denmark on an epic journey around the world. This is the Radio Vagabond.
Hi guys, and welcome back to all new episodes of the Radio Vagabond podcast. I hope you've enjoyed the flashback episodes I've given you this month, but now we're about to start season 7, a season that will be different in so many ways. The next 4 months I'll take you around the globe, from Andorra, Bali, Brazil, Chile, Dominica, El Salvador, Guatemala, to Jordan, St. Lucia, Uruguay, a few places around the US, and then we'll be in St. Croix, one of the US Virgin Islands, in the first one in a few days. That's part of a Caribbean cruise that I'm on right now, as I'm saying these words. In fact, I'm recording this in the cabin of the good ship, Celebrity Equinox, with a view of the Caribbean Sea. It's a cabin that I'm sharing with today's guest. Her name is Siobhan Farr, and she's the Spark Originator, aka founder of the summit and community called Digital Nomads Beyond 50. So, welcome, and let's go back a few days to when we were still in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. At this point, I just bought a new microphone, and I told her that I wanted to test it out. And I surprised her by actually starting an interview with her.
So, Siobhan, now we're here in Fort Lauderdale about to go on a cruise. So I thought I would introduce you and say hi to you.
Is this real? Are we doing this for real? Are we just testing your...
No, we're doing this for real.
Oh, I thought we were just...
You're live on the air right now.
My name's Palle Bo. Welcome to a chat with my new friend Siobhan, an unintentional digital nomad beyond 50. This is the Radio Vagabond, episode 205.
Travel is possible at any age. Your sense of adventure is just over the horizon. So, reach out and grab it. This is the Radio Vagabond podcast.
Do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Of course.
Okay.
Absolutely.
First question, where are you born?
Okay. Do you want me to tell...
I want you to tell the truth.
The true story? Or my birth certificate story?
I asked you to tell the truth.
Okay. I was originally born in Belize, but my father did not want me to be born in Belize. And so, when I did come to the United States... Mind you, this was a long, long time ago.
Statute of limitation.
Yes. My mom, being a nurse, as a part of the hospital system, they bought a birth certificate.
So that's a perfect first few words from you that you are actually somewhat illegal.
I have a U.S. passport.
Yeah.
So I have a legal U.S. passport, but I also now have a Belizean passport as well.
And you didn't have that in the beginning?
No, I didn't have it because I had a U.S. birth certificate.
Yeah.
Yes, but I am a citizen of Belize under my U.S. birth certificate. Talk about being a conflicted identity.
Yeah.
Coming up later in this episode.
I did not have to rush back to the United States. And during that period of time, I became what I now call an unintentional digital nomad beyond 50.
We'll be right back.
This episode is brought to you in part by Hotels25.com. Whenever you need a hotel anywhere in the world, go to Hotels25.com. That would get you the best price. Hotels25.com searches a bunch of the biggest hotel sites in one simple search. Hotels25.com.
Let's just go back to how we two got to know each other.
About the dating site, you mean?
No, that was not me. You might have confused me with somebody else.
Yes.
No.
Somebody that we both know.
You did a conference or a summit that was obviously online because of COVID, but tell me a little bit about that.
Well, basically, to make a long story short, which will be on my tombstone.
No, to make a short story long.
I found myself COVID locked in Ecuador. I was planning to stay there for 3 weeks. I ended up spending a total of 13 months there. And during that period of time, I realized that it was probably safer for me to try to do my work from Quito, Ecuador, rather than go back to the United States, especially since I had left the United States with that whole sell off everything and, you say homeless, I say home free, but I did not have to rush back to the United States. And during that period of time, I became what I now call an unintentional digital nomad beyond 50. And so that was unusual for me because I thought there was a lot of other people who might be in a similar situation, and they would also not be the typical demographic of what we think of a digital nomad. And that is somebody who is in their 20s or 30s, etc. Yeah. And so I went out in search of those folks. I started a Facebook group called
Digital Nomads Beyond 50.
Yes, indeed. And as more and more of the people joined the group, I realized that they had questions because they wanted to be digital nomads more so than they were already digital nomads beyond 50. And so I went back to my previous career as a learning and development manager and director. And I used to do conferences live, so I figured, what would it take to do a virtual conference? It's got to be easier than a live conference.
Little did you know.
Yes, little did I know. Little did I know. But that's how the Digital Nomad Beyond 50 Summit started, to answer the questions of our members, our growing membership, and also to basically kickstart the possibility of a co-live, co-work just for digital nomads beyond 50, because I got gracefully declined to participate in a co-live, co-village because they didn't have anything for those who were 45 and above. Yeah. So once again, that's something new that I thought, that's a gap we can fill.
Yeah. I've been turned away from hostels, or maybe it's just one hostel, where I showed up and it looked nice, and then they said, "Oh, you're too old." And I said, "What do you mean you haven't even seen my passport?" I said, "No. Do you need to see it?" "No, that's okay. That's okay. You're too old." They turned me away. I think the limit was 40. So I felt a little bit offended. But I think that was in Croatia. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a bit subjective because my daughter and I were meeting up in Budapest. And I wanted to try out a hostel for the first time because she had stayed at a lovely one in Greece. Mm-hmm. And so I'd booked the hostel. We were all set to go. And it wasn't until after I'd booked it, it was past, any time that we could get a refund or whatever, that I noticed that it said that it was for those maximum age 30. Oh. Yeah, exactly. And so we discussed whether we should notify. And I said, you know what, let's just show up. And if it's an issue, then we'll find someplace else. But I'll also ask for a refund. But they did not say anything. But I have to say, you might have saved yourself an uncomfortable night, because I had never slept on the thinnest mattresses in all my life. It's just like, is it 3 inches? I don't even think it was 3 inches thick, that mattress, on a hard board. So it was, Yeah,
but what they told me was, there's a lot of partying going on. So I'm fine by that. No, a lot of a lot of music playing. I'm fine by that. So, no, sorry. And then I went to another place, and there was a guy who was 70 years old, and the same thing just happened to me. I thought, oh, whatever, I can go to another place, and I didn't get to pay for it. I can go to another place, and I was a bit annoyed and offended that he didn't want to see my passport. But this 70-year-old guy, he was fuming. He was so angry, and I said to that young man, can you see that hill up there? I'll race you to the top, and if you get there before, I'll leave, but if I get there first, I'll get to stay. I said, no.
That didn't work either.
No. But, yeah, it's rare, it's happened, and it's never been an issue, and I really enjoy staying at hostels. I remember when in the beginning of my journey, I thought, I'm too old for hostels, and now, and dorm rooms especially. But now I'm fine with everything, and I've got to meet so many amazing people in hostels.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I had an opportunity to stay in a hostel again in Antigua, in Guatemala. Mm-hmm. And it had just enough of a population that people were still there. Now this is post-COVID. Budapest was before COVID. This is after COVID. And
like a few weeks ago, actually.
Yeah, just a few weeks ago that I stayed in Antigua. And I stayed, it was a Bedouin tent room. Oh. And I just had to try that out, especially since it slept up to 20 people. Yeah, exactly. All I can say is that I stayed 3 nights. The first night there were 3 of us in the room. The second night 2, and then my last night it was just me in that room. Wow. But I had enough. I enjoyed the experience, but I'm so grateful that there weren't more than 5 people in that room. Yeah.
So Siobhan Farr organized the online summit Digital Nomads Beyond 50, and runs a Facebook community with the same name. And unlike popular belief, digital nomads are not only in their 20s and 30s. If we go back and take a look at the Facebook group, there's a growing number of digital nomads beyond 50.
We are almost 400. Yes, and I
have so many people say, okay, digital nomads, they're just in their late 20s, early 30s. That's where they are, and there are a lot of them. But we are, and I see more and more my age.
Yeah, absolutely,
and even your age,
even my age, exactly, because I'm way beyond 50. But we wanted to make it as open as possible for the age. I use like about 45, late 40s, based on that one co-live, co-work community that I tried to join. And when they said that, they didn't have anything for 45 and above, I said, okay, well, I guess that should be our target, 45 and above for digital, people who are planning. They may be planning to do it in the next few years, so can't exclude them. But yeah, we are almost at 4. We actually, as of today, we are at 391 members for a group that started basically late February, March. I mean, I started the Facebook group back in October, but I didn't start promoting it because October is my busy work season, so I just let it sit there and didn't tell anybody about it until.
But to join that Facebook group, do you have to be a full-time nomad, or what's the deal?
No, in fact, we do ask the question: are you in your late 40s? Are you a digital nomad? And then we immediately follow by saying these are not limitations. These are not limitations. This group is for people who are currently a digital nomad, planning to be, or just simply curious. They just want to find out how to do it, what's involved, do I have to do, is it an all or nothing type thing? Because sometimes people think that they have to do what you and I did, and that is to sell off everything and be homeless or home free. Yeah. And there are so many options of how you can be a digital nomad that people were able to, discover by some of the talks that were a part of the summit as well too. I mean, we had 22 people speaking. You as well spoke well, and really provided a lot of good information, both on the podcasts and how to brand your business, because a lot of these people, they either work for themselves now or they plan to, and how to brand their business using a podcast. And then the other talk that you did, and I'm so grateful that you did too, was on how to, on living. What it is like to live home free, so that they can see the full spectrum. Because there's people who were, when they're in the United States, they're traveling and nomading in a van, and then at the same time, Cindy Sheridan, she was traveling and nomading in a van, and then when things loosened up so that she could travel outside the country, she spent 5 months traveling Mexico and Colombia. Yeah. So all of those are the types of... Now she's back in the United States.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me to this. It was a great thing to be a part of, and a lot of interesting people. And I went to hear somebody else as well, and there were coffee breaks in between the real sessions, and where we could just hang out and bring our own coffee, of course, because this was online.
Or not.
Yeah.
It could have been wine at 10 o'clock in the morning.
It could have been 10 o'clock at night somewhere else in the world. Yeah, it's always wine o'clock somewhere in the world. That's what I say. But you put this thing together, and the workload was overwhelming, and a big learning curve. But now you got the system in place. So do you think you're going to do it again, or do you hope to do it in a personal event?
Absolutely. I'm definitely planning to do the summit for 2022. But what we're going to be doing in the middle of all of that, or leading up to that, is there are various topics that were of particularly keen interest to a lot of people. How do you prepare financially to be a digital nomad? How do I source jobs if I want to get a new job? So those were some of the topics that came. Those were some of the talks or programs that people had the most interest in, and they felt that they got the most value from. They got value from more than just that, but I'm talking about the top ones that people said, this is what I've been dying for, this information, really wanting to, to talk to somebody who's lived it and done it. So we're going to be doing some mini summits of just that are specific to like financially planning. Or not so much. That sounds like, Edward Jones or, Charles Schwab or something. But preparing financially to make this type of transition, and more on the actual nitty-gritty of the life. Mm-hmm. What is the life like when you just don't... I say now, I live on flexi-planning, because... I mean, when I showed up in Guatemala and we were talking, I had no idea that in about a month I would be going on a cruise. I had no idea. So it's all about flexi-planning.
Exactly.
In other words, I got to know Siobhan online in preparation and doing the summit. And now we're about to go on a 12-day Caribbean cruise together. And not only that, we're sharing a cabin. When we come back, we'll talk about how that happened. Stay with us.
If travel is your passion and you want escapism while still upholding your work and family responsibilities, you can travel vicariously from the comfort of your own home. This is the Radio Vagabond Podcast.
Life is short, and there is so much to explore. I won't let a second go to waste. Yeah, time goes fast. I better step it up now. Take some chances, cut some ropes. Ooh, ain't gonna wait much longer. There will be no sleep tonight. I'll chase my dreams while I'm still young and single. Nothing's gonna stop me, no. I have to run, 'cause life is now.
And maybe we should just describe what happened, because one of the other panelists, Andres Thomas, an American born in Uruguay, spent a lot of time in Honduras and in Central America. He's got an Airbnb thing going in Guatemala. And when I knew that I was in El Salvador during the summit, I said, well, I'm on my way to Guatemala. And he said, oh, come stay here. So I went there, became a very good friend. And then I told you that I was going. And then you said, I'll join you as well. So all of a sudden, 3 of us from the summit were living under the same roof, which was amazing. And then one of the first nights I think it was the first night you just showed up, I was on my computer thinking about going on a Caribbean cruise. And I noticed that the price tag was quite high. And I'm traveling solo, so I realized that 2 people was basically the same price as one person. So do you want to join? I know that we don't really know each other, but do you mind sharing a cabin with me? and you were very quick to say, sure.
Yes, I said sure. And then the only thing I had to sort out was, okay, let's see, can I afford to do this?
Point one.
Yeah, point one. And then, as I said, I had come to the realization that I was not going to do my work. The most important months of my work are September to December. And I was coming to the realization that I was going to have to go back and do it in person. Medicare annual enrollment was my key work period. 70% of my income is made in those 4 months. Yeah. And I did not do as well doing it from remote. And so I said, nah, I don't want to risk that loss of income again. I need to at least suck it up and do 4 months of the grind. Yeah. And then I can travel again for 8 months and do my digital nomad of servicing my clients, during that period of time and getting a few new clients at the same time. So, yeah.
I was so impressed that we only just met each other and you immediately said, let's do it. And I have this rule when I travel that if I'm presented with an option and it's something that's doable, if I'm leaning where should I go, my option would be to say yes. And I feel that you kind of got the same spirit, but
I do.
Yeah.
Because you just never know what's going to happen when you say yes. And most often than not, everything works out in some way, shape, or form. It all works out.
Yeah, so here we are in Florida. The cruise starts in 24 hours. Less than 24 hours. We're going to be on the ship. And the COVID numbers are going up, and we've been holding our breath. Is this really going to happen, or are they going to cancel it? They've changed it, but I'll get back to that. Yes. But it looks like it's going to happen, and 12 days cruising the Caribbean, and it's going to be amazing.
Yes, it is. And actually, it's 13 days, 12 nights. Oh. So we actually have 13 days rather than just, which is, it's going to be the longest cruise that I've ever been on. And you know what? When you said free Wi-Fi, 3 drinks, and gratuity, and a balcony, that's what really all clinched it right there. Okay, I'm definitely going.
Great. So the next time you hear from us, we're on a cruise ship.
Absolutely. Yay!
Yeah, that was Siobhan, a great storyteller and now a great friend of mine. And we're about to go on a cruise and share a cabin on a cruise ship with a balcony. And it's going to be so amazing. This is what the itinerary looked like that we bought into. We're sailing out of Fort Lauderdale, just north of Miami in Florida. And then the first stop is St. Croix, which is a part of the U.S. Virgin Islands. That also has a bit of an angle for me because I'm from Denmark and they used to be Danish. But so there's a lot of Danish history there and a lot of Danish street names and names of cities and towns throughout St. Croix and St. John. And we're going to St. Croix, and I'm really, really, really looking forward to that. And then after that, the itinerary had 6 UN nations that are all island states. The first one being Antigua, of Antigua and Barbuda, and I've already been to Antigua. I did 3 episodes of the podcast from there, so you can go back and listen to that. And after that, Barbados, St. Lucia, Grenada, Dominica, and finally St. Kitts before heading back to Fort Lauderdale. So U.S. Virgin Islands and then 6 UN nations, of which I've only been to one of them. So it would also mean 5 new countries for me. And since I'm on a quest to visit every country in the world, this means something to me. And it means even more because right now I've been to 95 UN nations. So that would get my total to exactly 100. In fact, I went to a dollar store here in Florida and bought these golden blow-up balloons with a 1 and a 0 and a 0, so I could blow up, either just blow them up or get some helium in there and to get a good photo thing going when I set foot on my country number 100. I thought that would be funny. That would make for a good picture. But then Wednesday morning, it's Saturday right now and we're leaving tomorrow. Wednesday morning, we got an email from Celebrity Cruises where they said that due to COVID, they're changing the itinerary. So now they've taken out 3 countries. Instead, we're going to the Netherlands Antilles, a little bit further south in the Caribbean. And it's not a UN nation, it's 2 islands, and I'm sure they're beautiful and it's going to be exciting to go there. But still, it's 2 islands right next to each other that are probably pretty similar. And changing those 2 islands with 3 UN nations is... it's not the same. I feel this is a significant change to the product that we bought. And to be totally honest, if I'd known that looking at the itinerary and it was this, I would not have bought it. I definitely wouldn't. It's just not the same. I'd like to compare it to if I go to a restaurant, a nice seafood restaurant, and order the lobster, and then they come out and serve fish and chips, and I say, wait a minute, that's not exactly what I ordered. No, but the lobster fisherman's wife got sick, so he couldn't go fishing today, so we're out of lobsters, but here's the fish and chips. And then I would obviously say, well, do I get a discount? And they say, no. If you look at the menu, the fine print at the back, it says that we're allowed to change the menu without a refund. You're still paying the same price, the high price that you would pay for the lobster. But you're welcome to leave. You have to pay now, and then you can get a voucher and come back and eat with us later, but no longer than in a few months. But I'm not going to be in the area. Yeah, well, too bad. About this, I actually spoke with them a few hours earlier.
Thank you for calling Celebrity Cruises. To provide you with the highest quality of service, your call may be monitored or recorded. All representatives are currently assisting other customers. Your call is important to us. Please remain on the line, and the next available representative will be with you shortly.
Now that they're recording the call, I thought I would record it for you. Many minutes later, someone actually picked up.
Thank you for calling Celebrity Cruises, home of the best premium cruise line. You're speaking with Tricia. Who do I have the pleasure of assisting today?
Hi, Tricia. My name is Palabo, and I'm a guest on your cruise that departs Fort Lauderdale on Sunday. Tricia,
May I have your reservation number, please?
Oh, yeah. Tricia, while I find that, I got the message that this call is being recorded, so I just want to let you know that I'm recording as well for my podcast. I hope that's okay with you.
Okay.
I don't think she ever had that before. Listen, I don't want to come across as a spoiled brat. And yes, this is definitely a first world problem. But it is a major change for a quite expensive product. I called them for a few reasons, but at the end I had this question for Tricia.
The itinerary was changed on this cruise. We were supposed to go to 6 UN nations in the Virgin Islands, and that was changed to only 3 UN nations and Virgin Islands. And then the two islands in the Dutch Caribbean. So that's obviously a major change, especially for me, because I'm on a quest to visit every country in the world, and that was one of the reasons I booked this cruise, was that we were going to so many countries. So it's a major change. Do we get a reduction in the price because of this?
The itinerary is always subjected to change, so there wouldn't be a reduction in the price.
No?
No. You can cancel and get a certificate for the full amount, but otherwise there wouldn't be a reduction in the cost.
If I knew this before, I would definitely not have booked this cruise, because it's a completely different cruise. But what about onboard credits? Do we get that for this change?
No, there wouldn't be any onboard credit that will be issued, because itineraries are always subjected to change, because if we can't go to those particular islands, we have to switch them, rearrange them, or cancel them. Mm-hmm. But we will let you guys know in advance, and I believe this was notified on Wednesday of this week.
Yeah.
So at that particular point, we will only provide you with the option to cancel and get a certificate for what you have paid.
And not even the possibility to get all the money back.
No, there wouldn't be a refund based on an itinerary change.
So now I'm going. There's nothing I can do about it, but Celebrity Cruises, that's just not cool that you have this policy. I really don't think so. But now I'm going, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing. I've never done this kind of cruise before, and I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And with that, let's start Season 7 of the Radio Vagabond. My name is Palabo, and I gotta keep moving. See ya.
Produced by radioguru.co.uk.